right?
And Jim at Charlotte, Midweek camp back at July Effects. Right before we get started.
Yeah.
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
A double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone who talks double salutations to all you occupants of the labor in the house of David, the elect. This bushes with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you brothers. Hey, shalom to the elect, right? Back out here to bring it out. Just want to kind of touch on that subject that we're speaking about pretty much for the past month now, you know, as far as using Trump to destroy Babylon, man. All right, he's the guy we've been mentioned of, all right, and the Lord is using him to pretty much initiate World War III as we see it. Give me Proverbs 21, quick. Because everything is operated by the will of the Lord, all right, so there's nothing around that, man, you know.
This is Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh, as the river.
Yep.
He turneth it whithersoever he will.
Look at it, man. That's a grown man right there. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh,
Right.
as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will.
Right, so this is the Lord's operation. All right, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So right now, what's the will of the Lord to initiate World War III on the earth?
Right.
All right, the war of all wars, the war of Armageddon. As I did the lesson the other day, one day closer, one step closer to the day of Armageddon, man. So everything is moving beautifully, man. This situation with Iran, them talking about negotiating and coming to an agreement, to an understanding. These nations are not backing down to America's bullshit, man. You know, even though they got the surrounding forces, what's it called, the B-6 bombers or whatever, B-2 bombers, because as they're surrounding Iran, guess what? America's being surrounded as well. So it's both ways. All right, so the day of evil is of the Lord, man. All right, you read Proverbs 16 and 4 real quick too. You have something?
I have something real quick.
Go ahead.
I want me to, actually, no,
Yeah,
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 27. For the Lord Yahweh of hosts hath purpose, and who shall dissolve it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back?
right.
So the purpose of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai is what? When you read about in the book of Revelations, the 18th chapter, that goes into the destruction of Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great is, right? So the destruction has already been written. The aim and intent of the Lord's is already cemented. There's nothing that people can do against that purpose being accomplished in the earth. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, and verse 4. Yahweh will have nothing for himself.
Yep.
Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil.
Even the wicked for the day of evil, man. So again, this is all the operation of the Lord, man. Trump is the guy to use that's going to bring in World War III. He's the guy that they're using to crash the economy. All right, can I get it? So we got to get back to showing these signs too. All right, because hey, what's the main prophecy we all looking for is the MOTB system come past, man. The mark of the beast. All right, this digital blockchain that all societies are headed to, man. All right, this is what it's all about right here, man. You other Israelites out there that took that bag, all right, you can't dance around this prophecy. The thing is hitting you right in the face right now. All right, so you either deal with it or be destroyed, because hey, a lot of you false prophets are leading your congregation to destruction. And we guarantee you through the spirit of power, how much you know, shy. When this thing is implemented, all right, niggas gonna tell your congregation to take it, right? And you gotta eat, right? Right? You gotta eat. You gotta work, right? You want to have access to move around in society. Do what you gotta do. Going way the hell off, man. Right? Have you not read the prophecy in Revelation 14 chapter? Right? Those that take that mark, hey, you gonna drown in that second death, that lake of fire, man.
Yeah, that's why the scriptures tell you. If you try to save your life, you're gonna lose it. And he that loses his life, my faith is saved.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Appreciate that. That's it. So hey, we are in some very, very crucial times, man. This is not a game. This is not a laughing matter. All right, you got all you jakes on the internet scoffing and mocking this shit. All right, coming against your own heritage, coming against the Bible, coming against the prophets, and guess what? Hey, there's dire consequences for that. Give me Matthew 12 and 36 real quick. And that's hard though. That's hard, brother. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Matthew 12:36. Because all this tough talk eventually is going to be dealt with, man. Right? Yeah, every other word. Hey, it's easy to be tough on the internet, man. Right? When you can hide behind icons, you can remain anonymous. You see what I'm saying? But guess what? Hey, the angels see everything, man, and it's all being marked. You got it, brother.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Every idle word goes past. Nobody gets away. How many times we got to tell you that? Nobody gets away. Every idle word is going to be dealt with in that time. Keep going.
For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned.
That's it. All right? And that's how the Lord's coming. That's the type of time that the Lord is on, man. All right? So, hey, like they say, you're going to eat them words, right?
They ain't going to get nothing else out here, man.
That's it.
Right? You unspoken the Lord in the times of the green, right? So when you lose access to all these resources, and the only thing you have is your relationship with the Lord, that lack thereof, right? You're going to have to live by that, man.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, hey, like you niggas like to say, hey, you're going to have to stand on business, right? Say that. All right, well, we're going to see when the Lord returns if you're going to continue to stand on that business.
Right. But we know that they're not going to be able to, because the scriptures speak about in the book of Isaiah that the Lord is going to remove the idols.
Yeah.
He's going to move the idols, so it's not going to be any sense of strength or stability.
That's it.
But at the same time, they all gonna stand on business because their business is predicated to Esau's agenda. So if I was trying to snatch souls, all right, they're gonna use these different congregations to do that. Like, they're gonna tell the congregation take the ship.
You see it, man.
Yeah. This is Romans chapter 2, verse 16. It says, in the day when Yahweh Bashem Yahushua shall judge the secrets of men. Ecclesiastes 12:14. For when Yahweh Bashem Yahushua shall bring every work in every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. As we're seeing, a lot of guys are playing with the breakdown because secretly you're with Esau's agenda. You're with him. And that's why we see it. A lot of you guys in that day are going to turn tail and take it. That's why all these breakdowns that continue to come out, you refuse to acknowledge the MOTB is the all-fight teacher. You know? Because that's the center of everything, man. Like we've been talking about, all the talks of, World War III, Iran, everything is predicated upon this chip. And America's economy needs to break down before we see anything with boots on the overseas, man. You know? So that's the main watch that anybody that's going to be a part looking at is this chip, man.
That's it. That's the main thing, man. That's the icing on the cake before this drop, man.
Yeah.
All right? They got to push the mark of the beast. All right? Which is going to be that sea hip. All right? And like the priest was saying, all them guys is playing with the breakdowns, and the scriptures say, woe unto you that teach the word secretly, man. All right? And a lot of guys don't understand what you do when you add or you take away from the word of the Lord, man. All right? That requires death. All right? Like I said, we said in a camp last Saturday, going back to Jeremiah 28, a lot of these false prophets are in the spirit of Hananiah, man. Bringing forth to pass that false prophecy when the Lord never called them. Right? And the Lord said that real quick. Micah the 3rd chapter, right? From the top, read down to maybe 5 or 6. That's a good point too.
At the end of the day, what's going to be found out? A lot of these different so-called prophet teachers, they're not going to perpetrate.
That's it.
Boy, that's sinful. Look, I got Jeremiah 14:14. Did the Lord unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name.
Man.
I still not, neither have I commanded them, neither prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and they think of not in the seat of their heart.
And that's when we see guys are making shit up, winging it as they go along. Right? You trimming the gospel to appease men. All right? Chasing whatever you niggas are about, man. All right? And that's why eventually, as we see out, especially right now, we're seeing the spirit catch up with a lot of you niggas, and it's beautiful, man. All right? Because brothers have to sit back and suffer that shit, man. Watch you go off, you rebuked. All right? You've been corrected, you've been exhorted, and what did you do? Rebel like a rebellious child, man.
Lied on brothers.
Lied, slander.
Tried to brothers set their business, ruin their lives, mess with brothers' families, lying on the business.
Yeah.
Hey, that's way is being played out beautifully on this nigga.
That's it. That's it. You got that Micah real quick.
It's Micah chapter 3 and verse 1. And I said, here I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and ye princes of the house of Israel.
Right, so the Lord is addressing right off the bat, he's addressing the leadership of the people, man. Go ahead.
It's not for you to know judgment.
Is it not for you to know judgment? Go ahead.
Who hate the good and love the evil.
That's right.
Who pluck off their skin from off their flesh from their bones.
Yeah, so really, hey, these false prophets are trying to put our people back in dead state, man, that dead state of mind. The Lord gave us the breath. He put the skin and the sinews back on us. Ezekiel 37, what Jake doing? He trying to tear it off. Right? Go ahead.
Who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them. And they break their bones and chop them in pieces as for the pot, and as flesh within the cauldron.
Right, so you're literally devouring our people in the spirit. Lying to them when you're giving them these faulty breakdowns.
Man, you diminish the gospel, man.
Yeah.
Telling people that you ain't got to get into the Hebrew. We're Israelites, the Hebrew Israelite, you know, whatever the fuck y'all niggas is out here saying, man. All these different things is separating Jake from returning fully back onto the path to Yahweh Shem Shah.
Then shall they cry unto the Lord, but he will not hear them.
Yeah.
He will even hide his face from them at that time.
Yeah, the Lord gonna hide his face from you in that time. That's and you niggas that's following him. You know, like Elder Menachezab, I think the lesson he walked and talk, he was getting on Alazar and the followers too, man. You niggas supported him, you was bigging them up, you was egging them on, you still supporting him, still giving him, and what did it do? It blew his head up. Alright, he started to think that he was more than what he was. Right? And that pride is a motherfucker. It deceived the hell out your ass, man. And that's what happened to the guy, man. He never really repented. He never really exercised them demons off of him, man. And look at him today, man. The guy looks horrible, man. All the information that's coming out with his, his women and shit like that. And we ain't even got to get into that. But it's a lot of nasty fucking work, man. Right? But see, like the elder made a good point. You should know them by their fruits. We saw everybody saw what he was doing. We saw what he was teaching. So it made sense that his personal life was fucked up like that, because look how he was moving and moving. The guy was a complete demon, right? So to hear these accusations come out, right? It's not surprising to us. When we heard this shit, we said, yeah, it makes sense. The nigga was a demon anyway. Fucking weirdo. Go ahead, bro.
And it's funny, that word, when you look at weirdo in the etymology, it says a guy with a beard.
Damn, a guy with long hair and a beard. There you go. Man, the Lord is cold, man. Weird ass, sodomite ass nigga dead, man.
So Micah chapter 3 and verse 5.
But this is the toughest Israelite that you've seen, right? Go ahead, man.
Micah 3 and 5. It said the Lord concerning the prophets that make my people
see,
hear.
I do want to say this, but this is what happens when you see guys like him come up against Yahweh Shah. Because what the Lord is showing is that all those that have, came against Yahweh Shah, he's throwing down. He's showing that these ain't the guys.
That's it.
Micah 3 and 5.
That's why I said it's not the rent, but it's like Jake is caught up in the outward man, the actions, the outward appearance. The inward man, the Lord knows the heart, man. Right? So when you ain't right, hey, the Lord allows to manifest, as we've been seeing a whole hell of a lot lately.
And this is what brings clarity to what Yahweh Shah was saying in the Gospels. He was getting on the wicked scribes and Pharisees, man. Glorify, the outward, but that inward cup, they never clean.
Yes, sir.
And like you said, a lot of these dudes that you see getting exposed like this now, they personal life is all fucked up. Mad demons that never addressed it, and it spilled over into the truth. This is why, even when us, in Great Millstone, this is why the admonition is continually out. And get your house moved. Get your house moved, because if not, them demons will consume you if you're not addressing it.
That's it. You gotta be born again like Yahweh Shah commanded.
We discussed last week the Holy Spirit about prayer and fasting.
Yeah.
Being two of the greatest weapons that we have in this faith. Prayer and fasting, our people, they're not taking proper use of that given, that opportunity. Those are signs. Because those are prevalent, like what I was saying, we can have people eat them. Jake just lean into that shit and just sit and eat your dirt. It's a terrible recipe for disaster.
The world wants you to do that. That's
right.
Why do you think everything that's destructive to you is given to you at nauseam? Because it wants you to consume. I can tell you, the flesh never, the eyes never feel.
Micah 3 and 5. Thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that make my people err, that bite with their teeth and cry peace.
The teeth and cry peace. There's no Jacob struggle. We will be all right. All right, let's party, let's all get wasted. All right, go ahead.
That with their teeth and cry peace,
Yep.
and he that putteth not into their mouths, they even prepare war against them.
Yeah, so really you're preparing war against Yahweh Shemel Shah, you and your congregation, man. You don't understand the severity behind it, man. Right? Keep going.
Yeah, expound on that. Because ultimately Yahweh Shemel Shah is fighting this war for our welfare. Right? But he's telling us to set our house in order. Right? Make our calling of election. Endure hardness as a good soldier. Right? Do these things and you shall not fall. The Lord is giving us the answers and the understanding of what we need to do to be able to be on his side of protection when all our hell breaks loose. But by you misguiding our people, it's not putting them in the spirit to be on the Lord's side. Putting in that odds with Yahweh Shemel Shah.
And just like we talk about how the beast shall make, not the beast, the dragon shall make war with the children. Right? You false prophets. False prophets are a part of this beast system. Right? Y'all are making war with the Heavenly Father's children as much as Esau is.
There you go.
That's like the deal is being shown in the Matrix by Morpheus. People are saying these people that don't want to be on the club, anytime they turn to an agent and come against you. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, these guys are part of the mechanism to keep this system going now. To keep it down, to keep you from rising up, so to speak, you know?
Micah 3 and 6. Therefore night shall be unto you, that ye shall have not have a vision,
Yep.
and it shall be dark unto you, that ye shall not divine.
Yeah, so when these things hit that we've been prophesying continuously about, the Lord said darkness was going to cover them. Because right now, the spirit of the Lord ain't dealing with them. So when it all goes down, they're not going to have the give. Right? Remember, you done took the bag. You done lied to your people. So at that point, you're cooked. All right, go ahead.
Shall go down over the prophets,
Yeah.
and the day shall be dark over them.
The sun is going to go down. All right, they're not going to have, matter of fact, read some more. They're not going to have that vision.
Then shall the seers be ashamed,
Yep.
and the diviners confounded.
Excited about it.
Yea, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer of the Most High.
See, there ain't gonna be no answer for the Lord. All right? You talking about we deal directly with Yahweh. All right? Yahweh Shah, not our Savior. Man, you gonna pay for that, man. Right?
You're going to get Yahweh for saying that. Come on, man. And as we always go into the Exodus 23rd chapter, he said he would send an angel. That letter, that word angel is capitalized.
That's family time to help me get a meal, man.
I wish I did. I ain't got nothing for it.
I cash out. I can help.
I ain't got nothing to cash up either, brother. No, you got it.
Ezekiel 11, verse 1. Moreover, the Spirit lifted me up and brought me unto the east gate of the Lord's house, which looketh eastward, and behold, at the door of the gate 5 and 20, among whom I saw Jazaniah, the son of Azer, and Pelatiah, son of Benaiah, princes of the people. Right, so going into the leadership, right? It says, Then said he unto me, son of man, these are the men that devise mischief, your counsel in this city. So the same men back then, those spirits are you're seeing be reprobate now, man. It says, which say it is not near, let us build houses. This city is the cauldron, and we be the flesh.
Is that not what we said? Telling Jake we're going to be here for 1,000 years. We're going to continue our lives here. But in the midst of you saying that, look how being here longer and longer is destroying our people more.
Exactly.
So you to even have that, the thought to even want to stay here, you want our people to be remain.
Exactly.
And get worse.
Exactly. And when you get in that big bag, you like, shit, we got time left. You see? And that's what happens, man. When you get in that, you lose sight of the affliction. You got that? With prosperity, you know. Yep.
This one is about
Yeah, it's the one I was thinking about, man. You got any more in there? Was that it? Yeah.
So Ezekiel 11 and verse 4.
Like Elder Apostle Hart said, look, if you was getting major bags, hey, you know what? Hey, this Saturday we ain't gotta go out. You see what I'm saying? We'll go out next week. The next week turn into another week. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens, man. And that's why the Lord doesn't want us to be comfortable here, man. Because those things that happen. Hey, remember, we're in the flesh. Right? Go ahead, brother. Okay.
Sirach chapter 20 and 29. Presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise.
There you go. Presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise. Go ahead.
And stop up his mouth that he cannot reprove.
Right, and that's what happens. Guys stop prophesying. Guys start killing the scriptures. Right? Yeah.
Nah, man, the prophets were, they straight to the point. Raw with it. That's why when you read, like, Samuel, in that scripture we're talking about, when Samuel came to the people, they were afraid when you come into prophesying good things. That's not what we're saying here for, man. All right? It's good things to the elect that we're saying. Well, this world, they don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear that they're precious American. They love us, you know? This is why, like you said, these niggas get this bag. They start catering to the people because they want that money still to come in, man. Especially to these women.
It can be neither poverty nor riches, man. You know, because you can destroy yourself in either case. Right? That's why the Lord is a level ground for each brother's spirit.
That's it. He gives us exactly what we need, man. Hey, think about the wilderness, man.
Right.
Hey, dealing with the manna. Right? The Jakes that tried to store extra food, what happened? It went bad. It's sweet, man. The Lord gave Jake just enough. And that's it. No, you got to brother. That's the spirit. And you think about it and you apply that spirit to how that happens with us. You know, Jake tried to get a couple of coins. He tried to save some money for a rainy day. That shit ain't happening.
No.
The Lord will give you enough to get through your day, man. You talking about, man, when at least try to save up a couple G's, this and that shit ain't happening, man. You know?
They get that tax money.
Yeah.
Always some shit that you keep
Then
coming
the damn car break down, something go wrong in the house.
Get sick,
Man, that's the Lord doing that, man, because he don't want you to have that comfort, man. It's all spiritual. You got it, brother.
So Ezekiel 11 and verse 4. Therefore prophesy against them, prophesy, O son of man.
Yeah, so the Lord commanded us to prophesy against these false prophets, man. But y'all call it hating, y'all call it camp banging, right? Hey, this is part of the war. Reproof is part of the ministry, man. Rebuke. The rebuke is necessary. Why? Because our people are simple, man. Right? Jake, hey, the scripture said the simple believe every word, man. So our job is to pull the sincere out of the fire before they get destroyed, man.
You see, it shows you, which is another reason why these niggas hate Paul's writing. Because they're not, at church that Paul went to, was he not rebuking them? You know, every church has something that they was going off on. He was going over there to fix that. I said, pull out the sincere that heard him, they were with it. But the ones that weren't with it, they trying to kill him. We're going to fast to Paul die. That nigga die hungry.
That's it. That's right.
This is Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 9.
That's it, man.
Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 9. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart. So does the sweetness of a man's hearty counsel. You know, so the reprove and rebuke, you know, that's counsel. Get yourself in order, man. Right? And admonition and exhortation for you to correct yourself. Right? And that's sweet to the mind because eventually, if you receive the counsel, if you receive that correction, what happens? If you're being corrected for your only thing that can come out of that is good.
Yeah. That's if you're taking heed.
Right.
And to you, Proverbs 27 and 5, open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. So only a wise man will hear the rebuke of the wise and take heed and change for his betterment. Otherwise, if you want to just have yes men that's blowing smoke up your ass the whole time, man, as you see what's happening with guys like Alexander, you see the embers of what's going on, man. When you ain't got nobody to check you when you going off, the Lord will allow your head to get pumped up to the point to where you fall and fall in.
This is Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. And it reads, it says, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed.
Man, in the world, this you are pretty much the company you keep.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That.
Yep.
So I can't say this again.
Exactly.
I got another
So I want the white.
just to add on to that.
And white.
Chapter 9,
Gregory was the primary.
verse 14.
Yes, not Jefferson.
This is Sirach 9 and verse 14. And it reads, it says, as near as thou can, guess at the neighbor and consult with the wise. Verse 15. let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. Let just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. So again, like you said, you got to surround yourself with men that are just like you, you know what I'm saying? You can't be around no fucking, you know, like you said, yes men and a bunch of foolish people. You're going to end up like them, man. You know, and that's what happens with guys. You know, guys going to take heed to righteous counsel, and guess what happens? You get destroyed.
A good example of that is, you know, guys that constantly surround themselves with work.
Yeah, that's it.
Like we had a guy. Your life begins to get them, and you begin to follow the truth.
Exactly. That's what that guy was also. He was surrounding himself with people in the world, man. He his podcast with these gang niggas and shit.
And who knows what they was doing behind.
And that dude was he was a federal agent the whole time. You know, him and that goofy nigga Whack 100.
Cause they, you know, just speculating the shit. Cause that nigga was and a witch. So the shit that Alazar is being brought out on, this very well could be some type of ritual that he's involved in, man.
Exactly.
You know? So who knows? But it just goes to show you, like the scripture says, can two walk together lest they be agreed? We don't concern ourselves with people that's not true. You know? Because they, what value do you really get from that? You know?
Real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 10. Correction is grievous unto him that is the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. So if you don't accept the correction of Yahweh Shem Shai, then only that's to your demise, right? The correction is there for your betterment. So a person that's sensible will say, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and take heed to this. Let me take heed to the correction that is being admonished through the Holy Spirit and improve myself. Right? That's what makes you wise.
That's the point. Work has to be done. Okay, you're constantly getting the truth, constantly getting the experience, constantly having the same thing being said over and over again. Obviously, something's not clicking.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because the problem is not the body, it's your ass. Really.
This is Proverbs 29 and 1. He that being often reproved or at the neck, he shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. So the Lord, and he'll give you, ample time to change. Also, like Bishop kind of like to say, the Lord will also give you the rope to hang yourself with. Right? This is why, like Elder D-Master was saying, you got to clean yourself up before the Lord. When the Lord do it, it's gonna hurt. So it's rather you do that shit now than wait for the Lord to put his hands on you.
That's why the scripture says, self-examination, like brothers are saying. If the Lord do it, he gonna smack the shit out of you. Like any parent. You did when you understand what your parent expects out of you. And let me go ahead and handle that. I already know what's gonna happen if I don't do it.
I make my dad get out that couch.
That's right. The Lord smack you, you gonna be back in the spirit world. You ready to keep it back.
Yeah, and this I'm going to the problems that come in the past, man. You don't want to go into Jacob's trouble still with smut on you.
That's it.
You want to make sure your garment is clean so that the Lord can deal with you in that time, man. Hey, brother, they got time to be doubting themselves and wanting the Lord dealing with them in that time, knowing you have all this time to clean yourself up.
Any more, Rock? Yep.
So Ezekiel, now read verse 4 again, it reads, therefore prophesy against them, prophesy, O son of man. The Spirit of the Lord fell upon me and said unto me, speak. Thus saith the Lord, thus have ye said to Israel, for I know the things that come into your mind, every one of them. Right? So like the elder and brothers are going into, man, the Lord knows all these things already, man. You can't hide none of this stuff. Right? That's why it's all coming to light the way it is. Because it's getting exposed on all levels so that we know and so that the believers can see that the Lord is working in the Spirit, man.
These niggas must be stopped. God damn.
Israel very nasty. That's a lot of sexual deviancy amongst
I was
Israel.
about to say that. The elder alcoholic on the Dallas campus, it's a lot of sexual perversion going on in Israel, man. But when you go in the scripture, you find out this is not Israel.
Exactly, because Jake failed to idolatry. it involved, sexual practices, man. A lot of sexual perversion, man. So really, all that stuff that happened back then is really now, right? A lot of, especially that black consciousness community, man. There's a lot of modes and PDF files up in there too.
Niggas don't have that iron voice for no reason.
Exactly.
You go back into that shit, that's a butthole, man. You think the niggas all sexually? All these African niggas, all niggas, you get into it.
Let's go to, matter of fact, it's Isaiah. But before we read that, let's read Isaiah 19 first and look at that. Let's start from the top, just to go back to the point. Just when I wanted to land off the spirit of y'all brothers did about the Lord is using Trump to destroy America. We see,
Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence.
Right, and that time is coming. The Lord is getting ready to show up. Right? So Rock 36, you can read that. All right, the Lord is getting ready to magnify his right hand, which is Yahweh. He's getting to invade this world, the heavenly host. All right, this is Psalm 68. All right, give me that real quick. Psalm 68 and 17. All right, the 20,000 angels. Because Esau knows who those angels are. Right?
Psalm chapter 68 and verse 17. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place.
The Lord is among them, and the Lord's presence is here on the earth, man. Chariots are being seen across the planet, being documented. That's why back in, was it 2020, I want to say, when they started to really, 2019, when they really started declassifying the information regarding the so-called UFOs, UAPs, right? Because the information and the evidence was so abundant, they couldn't really put it on them. All right, so we're in that time where these things are being revealed.
With those idols being removed, we see that's taking place now. Right? These idols are literally being, shifted out of the way to the point where people are just walking blindly. Right? They were already walking blindly in the spirit, but they had a sense of pride, so to speak. Right? In their ignorance.
It added to you because now you're seeing a lot more sense of hopelessness amongst these people. Like when we talked about this, the point you brought out, one of those idols is money. And so as Lord is fucking up, everything with these tariffs and everything, all right, these people are in a state of like, what are we gonna do? Because I can't afford nothing. I can't work nowhere. There's no jobs out here. What are we supposed to be doing? That's why at the end of the day we need Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Because the Lord, as we've been going, He's going to watch over His elect. And He told me His servants have nothing to worry about. As long as we continue to fear and serve Him, we'll be good. But the rest of the people that don't know the Lord, that want to serve these other idols, these other gods, we are seeing where that's getting to. Judges 10 and 13, something like that. The Lord is putting you in a predicament where that hope is going to survive.
Just a quick headline article from Market Watch. It said parents are hunkering down financially to brace for Trump tariff impact. Families are cutting back on summer camps and vacations and delaying major purchases that they prepare to weather a trade war.
See, people are trying to remedy that. Like you're seeing like the whole trend now with TikTok. Everybody's going, like China's been exposing all these manufacturers and all that. So I got the cheat codes. Now I'm gonna be good. That shit ain't gonna work.
That's the spirit. Can you get real quick? That's exactly what I thought. I saw those videos on Instagram too. China goes into really how this thing goes down. Now that reminded me where it says victuals should so cheap. Give me that real quick. Because you see, now people feel like they got the cheat code now.
Right back
there you go.
That's all I'm on TikTok. Every time you get on there, that's only popular now. Jake flexing with the shoes. Jake flexing with the beauty
designer bags.
All that, bro. So it's like, yo, the Lord is just letting you niggas get prouder and prouder, man.
So that's perfect. That's the scripture right there. You got that out?
2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be sold good cheap upon earth. They should think themselves to be in a good case.
Right now you can You could buy 50 pairs of Jordans now for what, $5 and shit, $25. Now you think you're in a good case now, because China didn't expose the whole industry, right? But that's a stumbling block.
It's orchestrated. Do you really think that Esau will allow the information to come out? He didn't have a thing after that he's waiting on, man?
Exactly. And it's perfect because that's a great way to keep you niggas distracted.
Exactly.
You know, I $25, I can get 100 pair of Jordans.
Look, cause I looked on it this morning. I was looking at some Yeezys for like $2. Cause it's like, all right, niggas don't care about this fake because they find out all this shit from the same goddamn factory.
Exactly.
So it's like, bro, whatever, man. But that's not gonna help you, Jake.
Come on, man. You can get 30 Louis belts for $10. Right?
Guess what? When that family going, you gonna be eating that shit.
Exactly.
It says, continuing on verse 21 in the latter, it says that they think themselves to be in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
And that's happening. As it's going on, you got people thinking themselves being a good case. All these evils are playing out in the earth. Famine, sword, destruction, war, right? Which is not going to let up. But Esau knows how to keep the people, you know, all over the place. Even this whole thing with April 20th, it's supposed to be Trump implementing martial law, the Insurrection Act because of the border crisis and all of that. But like I said in the lesson, they're pushing that to really cover up what's going on in Iran and the U.S. and Israel now, man. Because right now, they're talking about it. Trump is threatening, like, look, if they don't come to agreement and Iran to stop making those nuclear weapons and nuclear missiles and whatnot, then they're gonna get hit with a nuclear strike, right? So, countries are not backing down at the end of the day. So war is going to happen, whether you believe in that or not, right?
Like even when you go into the famine, right? The Milwaukee side did a lesson going into how Eve was exposing how these farmers out here, they're not getting the subsidies because Trump cut off all the financial, the federal funding. Right? So now they're doing the planting crops ahead here. They don't have the money to invest in the fertilizer and the seeds and the water and they rent all the factory equipment and all these things, man. So that's what that famine taking place.
And then to add to that point, you gotta remember I spoke about that 5 years ago.
He crossed over his iron.
The next year's supply. You know, so it's gonna come to a point. There's nothing being made to set aside for the next year. We're already dipping into that supply. It's going to a head to where we're gonna run out of everything. So, like you said, that famine is taking place. Like you said, niggas swearing about designer bags and Jordan and shit. We need to be part of the food club.
And you need to be getting the spiritual
Yeah.
above all else. Because the scriptures speak about the storehouses shall be found empty.
Yeah.
Right? Your concern, like the brother Chris Amwan just said, you so concerned about the outward, right? You're not thinking about what's really about to hit the shores that's going to impact you. Nobody is going to be thinking about the fact that you was able to finesse a couple of pairs of Jordan out for China indoor warehouse.
Exactly.
Right? Niggas gonna be worried about trying to fall from make each other.
Nigga, look at my Gucci belt, nigga. Got this shit from TV.
Yeah. Goddamn LED TVs, all that shit, the electronics, right? Esau got everybody in the perfect, really it's the Lord. Let's say that. Really how much that has these people in that trick bag, man. You know? Yeah.
2nd Ezra 16 and verse 21. But make them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
There you go. So there's no escaping the judgment of the Lord. Bottom line, that was it right there. Let's go back to that Isaiah 19. Start at the top.
So Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor.
Hey, the talks of civil war have been rampant, man, all over the place, man. All right, America's preparing for all hell to break loose. Everybody's buying up the guns, the ammunition, doomsday prepping, gathering up all the food and all of that. People understand in these times now that eventually the destruction is, all right, keep going.
And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian. They shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor.
Civil wars, class wars, race wars, you name it. War on every level that's going to happen in this society. Go ahead. Yep.
This is Luke chapter 16 and verse 8. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done for the children of this world and their generation. Why? For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. And I just wanted to bring that out because with the Egyptians being set against the Egyptians, as of these people that's making preparation, primarily are these Edomites, man. You don't see Jake actually taking heed to the times and seasons and making proper preparation to defend themselves and their household.
Nah, Jake think everything's a damn joke. Yeah.
What else did we get? This ain't gonna be anything that you see.
This will be the worst time ever.
I'm like,
These nations are preparing to invade this place. Right? Hey, what's the, I forgot the number of China's army. Yeah, it's crazy. It outnumbers the people. Right? They're military, that's what I'm saying. Right? So imagine when that shit goes down, man. You already got Russia, China already linked up.
I'm about to say, really, it's
North Korea, they're all linked up. This place about to get jumped. Straight up.
That's the only way to take down. That's the only way to take down the war.
America is not ready for any type of conflict on the shore, man. Because you see how fragile these people are already. You know, all it takes is for the news to get on and tell you that's going to be a fucking natural disaster, a snowstorm, or heavy rain, or hurricane. These people lose it. So how much more when this war touching the soil, man?
America has never seen that. See?
This is why Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter, talks about, you know, the wise being in the house of mourning and being in the house of mirth, because the wise being in the house of mourning, your mind is already set in the state of sorrow. So it's like, all right, you're already prepared for hardship. But if you're constantly in the spirit of mirth and entertainment, all that, that's a distraction. So when reality finally hits, it's like it's going to be a switch that your mind's not going to be able to contain when it's all happening at once. You're going to get a whole thing happen to you at once.
This is from AOL.com. The size of different militaries across the world. China's #1 with 2.035 million armed forces personnel. And then you go to #3 is America, which has 1.32 million armed forces personnel. You know, so it's a drastic difference in personnel that's available compared to America. And then not to mention that these other nations, because it goes into different nations. India being the second position with 1.47 million. North Korea 1.28 million. Ukraine 1.25. Right? Understand that these nations, like the Billy has said, this war gonna get jumped. Right? So it's not gonna be just 2.05 million soldiers. No, it's going to be 2.035 million from China, and then there's going to be other parts of the world that's going to bring their militia or their military personnel to also invade. So, like you said, man. Only if you knew and understood. You know, all they understood that later. That's it.
Jeremiah 49 and verse 31.
I wonder what you got.
Get up, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwelleth with the care, saith the Lord, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone. So going into America, right? It says, and their camels shall be a booty, and the multitude of their cattle is spoiled. And I will scatter into all winds them that are in the utmost corners, and I will bring their calamity from all sides thereof, saith the Lord. So everything about this place is about to be wasted, man. Everything, like the brothers, once boots hit the ground here, all these troops are going to have their way with what they want, man. Right? And they're going to have their mindset on taking whatever they want from America.
Yeah, it's going to be like when these UN troops get activated here, because they're already here. Because that's going to be the military force that's more strong to clear. Because like Charles said, the American whole military, they won't fire on that.
I've got other two, but of course
over there. They already have a kill first as
parece que es
all the bullshit that done to their whole country. So they, the women can be a booty to them, the men gonna be a booty, but the men are gonna be taught from your shoot. Like I said, these Americans are proud. Hey, when these measures get put in place, you're going to have a lot of people trying to push the envelope and thinking that we should gain, get their heads on up. Especially these damn niggas, man.
That brought it out time ago. Russia and the UN, they were saying that grape was pretty much attacked in those times. See if I can find it. You got it out.
So back in Isaiah 10 and verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom.
Right. This is one of the reasons why America can't stand, because like it says in Matthew, Luke, and John, Mark, kingdom divided cannot stand, man. So you got the people at each other's throats, which is why you're seeing the threats of civil war. So if you got American civilians already at each other's throats, how much more when these other troops come in? You ain't gonna, it's gonna be war within war here, man. Like you saw in that movie Civil War. What type of American law?
Just a man back on that precept. So 2 Ezra chapter 15, and start at verse 14 in the GNT, it says, "The world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government."
And this is kind of what we're seeing taking place since Trump, before he got in office. You had the Democrats pretty much running everything. You had the Republicans, all those pro-Trumpers, pretty much like, we're ready to overthrow the government, and Trump is. So now that you see them in the state of Trump is promised us all this shit and he's not delivering, we're just gonna overthrow the government altogether, man. Which is why you start to see all these troopers beginning to come together.
I saw a video, it was out like Iowa. It was these like baby boomer Edomites. They love America, that generation. But they were pretty much, they were confronting their senator, pulling out the Constitution. It was like, every person in America is afforded due process before they're actually sent to prison and things like that. And they're like, well, that doesn't really coincide with what's going on with immigrants that are being deported for life sentences to these different countries like Venezuela and whatnot. Right? So essentially, like you said, Preach, what we're seeing is that clash of ideals where it's going to reach a boiling point to where it's not going to be any discussion. It's just going to be action. There's going to be people mounting up to actually make their stance known.
Internationalism is going to be making that time.
It's not the exact one, but so this is back from 2022. It's from CNBC. It says UN report details horrifying Ukrainian accounts of rape, torture, and execution by Russian troops. See what I'm saying? It's here in the key points. It says a UN report says Russian forces committed an array of war crimes, including summary executions, torture, and rape, and other acts of sexual violence against Ukrainian civilians.
And Esau is known for that because remember during Afghanistan and Iraq, they were doing that to them over there as well.
Exactly. So how much more these troops hit the boots on the ground on the shores of America? It's gonna get crazy out here, man. And it ain't just gonna be women getting raped. It's gonna be two. Right? So these are times that the Lord is warning about, man.
Yeah, like that point, but that's true. Because if y'all been noticing the news, it's been an update of reports of men getting raped and all that stuff, and all that. So that shit is becoming more normalized because that's what the Lord is bringing.
I'm very excited, but also very
It's gonna get horrific out here, man. Right? But you've been warned first.
Isaiah 19:3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof.
Yeah, and this is what we see now. The spirit of Egypt, the confidence, the pride, the arrogance failing, man. All right, nobody knows what to believe. People don't trust anything Trump is saying. All right? What is put on TV, people are questioning.
Yeah, because everything he's saying, he's doing the opposite.
Exactly.
He'll get on TV and say one thing and then turn around and sign some paperwork and then forget that.
Exactly. These tariffs, as we talked about earlier, everybody shook because it's all over the media about how your everyday limit is about to go skyrocket, right?
That shit is everything from China that's brought over here. Even the shit that said was from France and whatnot, sent from China there, they put the sticker on it, but it's still from China. So this place is fun, man.
Yeah. Hey, hyperinflation, which, hey, the same way ancient Rome went out, the same way America's going out.
And then to add to the hyperinflation, you gotta take into account the shrinkage as well. I was in the Walmart yesterday looking at protein powder. Them things are small as hell now for the same price, bro. Everything is getting smaller and
yeah, the cereal boxes,
yes.
Them shits don't even be full.
Bro,
Their box be big, but the damn cereal be at the bottom, man.
remember, the family size boxes used to be huge, bro. That's the family size.
There's a regular size now. You know?
May I get this real quick? If I may just land back on the point about the hype of tariffs. This is from Financial Samurai. It says, stagflation is worse than a recession. Here's how to prepare. It says, stagflation is a rare and challenging economic condition where slow or stagnant growth, high employment, and persistent inflation occur simultaneously. Right? So as budgets have been discussing for a while now,
If you need them again, you just
need them
again.
the exacerbation of goods and services, right, and the people's wages not keeping on point with these costs of goods and services month after month. It says typically inflation rises when an economy is expanding and demand is strong, while recessions tend to bring lower inflation due to weaker demand. Stagflation defies this pattern, making it particularly difficult to address with traditional economic policy. What makes stagflation worse than a recession is the combination of economic stagnation and rising prices, creating a policy dilemma. In a typical recession, central banks can lower interest rates and increase government spending to stimulate growth. Inflation is usually low, and I believe that the Fed just had a meeting today. I think the Fed meeting was today. Let me check that real quick.
That's Revelation 6, right? About the wheat for a penny. Get that real quick.
Ooh, yes. But hey, right quick, right back. This is from Barron's.com. It says Jerome Powell, which is the Fed chair, had a speech today, and he says that the Fed head warns of challenging scenario. Right? It says that the
that's how it gets you, man. That's how it gets you. You got to pay to read this article. You know? You got it.
This is Revelation 6:6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
Right, so the penny goes back to a day's wages for work. Now in this time, that's not going to suffice. That's why everybody is crying on TikTok and social media about how they're going to fucking make it out here, man. How they barely making the bills. Right? Because of what? The devaluing of the dollar bill, man. Same thing they did to the, what's it called, the denarian, right? Go ahead.
And Jesus says, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings saying, a loaf of wheat bread for 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the olive oil and wine.
Yeah.
The point being, like you said, hey, the devaluing of the money is pretty much to where, one, you know, what a day's worth of work can't even cover your living.
Oh, there was an article that came out today that said that nowhere in America can a minimum wage sustain a 2-bedroom apartment.
They can't stand up for 1 bedroom. Because, like, you down here, for example, seeing everything rising up, and it said, you know, pretty much, like, rent up going like 15, you know, 100 for 1 bedroom in the studio. So, you have to work about 2-3 jobs for you to even be able to afford living. That's not even utilities and everything else, man.
Yeah. Jobs.
Jake working 3 jobs non-stop, man. Nigga, the bouncer, getting working at the airport, and then doing something else. So it's like, bro.
That's everybody.
I was like, man, I ain't got no time to shit. That's crazy.
Which is also causing, as we read in Isaiah 19, which is also causing the faith of this place to fail. You know, because people are being burnt out. Hey, the lesson I did, 73% of Americans are stressed out, man. You know? That's because of the tariffs, man. And the thing is, it ain't even really hit yet. So when it hit, it's over. Isaiah 4:1 talked about that too. Right? All that little independent bullshit, that's going to be done. right? Because hey, a lot of you women are struggling hardcore out here, man. You know, like they showed on Instagram, you're a baddie in the club, but when you go back to the crib, it's full of rope laying on the mattress. You know?
No furniture, nothing, man.
Come on, man.
You're saying there was a video, I think you said, where the chick was like, she was homeless, going on dates and shit. So I'm asking, y'all get ready for my date by going to the Walmart store.
Planet Fitness, washing up in the bathroom. Crazy, man. And people really living like
yeah, I don't reveal to my date that I'm homeless to the second or third date.
Yeah, that's why they try to push that van life. Right?
Yeah. You see the van life, you live in storage units and shit.
This shit crazy, man. And people are really living like this, man.
Tiny homes.
You know? But that going back to, again, that debasement of the currency, a day's wages no longer suffices anymore, man. You know?
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be. What is done, is that what shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Now, I brought this up to go back to this definition of denarii I spoke on earlier. It says, a Roman silver coin in New Testament time, it took its name as being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC, increased to 16, about 3.898 grams, or 0.1375 ounces. It is the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parables in the vineyard, it would be seen that a denarius was the ordinary day's wages.
Yep. And that's what it was, man. You know, and just like how the Roman Empire fell, it's the same route of miracle. You know, and as we read in that chapter, in that precept, it said, bring out the oil and wine, because hey, in the midst of all of this shit, the Lord's still gonna preserve the elect. Right? His servants, he said his servants what? His servants was gonna eat and have a drink. Right? So in the midst of all of this chaos, famines and supply shortages, the Lord still going to provide a way for his elect.
So this is off the David Guzik biblical commentary. It says a quart for a denarius and 3 quarts of wine for a denarius.
Like the New York.
These
Oh,
prices
you got
are
Rutgers
entirely
everywhere.
normal. It means that it would cost a day's wage to buy the ingredients for a loaf of bread.
That's crazy. A day's wage to buy the ingredients for a loaf of bread?
This describes a type of famine when life will be reduced to the bare necessities.
Yeah, and that's why, as the brother brought out the article, parents are hunkering down on what they buy now, man. You can't just live, what's the word, frivolously, you know? You can't just be out here living how you want to live. Now you gotta have structure, right? Go ahead.
We often see great famine in the world today.
You got a budget.
Yet fewer people suffer than 100 years ago. However, understanding the world's precarious ecological balance, it would not take much to run many of the kind of scarcity and activity mentioned above. It says, do not hurt the wolves. It says, however, understanding the world's precarious ecological balance, it would not take much to fund many into the kind of scarcity and inequality and inequity mentioned here.
It's not going to take much. It's going to be very easy for the people to get thrown into the depths of hardship. It's not going to be hard.
Yeah, you're one of his paycheck away.
Because what it is that Jake has he's got debt. Jake has a high ass overhead, but their income doesn't sustain the debt that they're under.
She was like, it made it very easy.
You know, like I used to know a lot of people, they'll show you like the net balance.
And you'll be being responsible with your money. But you talked about it before about the reason why car repos are exacerbated, right? The people are. I was reading on Goldman Sachs, the Apple cards. A lot of people are defaulting on those different credit cards and shit like that. You know, because people have been relying upon debt as their main source of support. Credit cards is their main source of support. They can't pay. You can't pay that with a credit card.
And then on top of that, not even counting the student loan.
Yes.
Because that's about to come back into play. You know, a lot of us are like, yo, Biden, put that the default thing in there where we have to pay. So we're starting to see within the next few months that come back into play. Certain people, that shit is double triple. Like the video Ella Hawaii did a couple of weeks ago. Shorty had a student loan debt that went up almost $700. You can't afford that on top of everything else you got. That's a fucking thing. That's business.
And if I can actually, when brothers were speaking about the women have a higher debt to income ratio and it's attributed to the student loans, primarily. So as we're speaking about when this shit get hard, which we have not seen yet, we are at the beginning of sorrow. This is just in conversations about terrorists. So niggas have not seen the totality of the terrorists hit home yet.
So it says, do not hurt the oil or the wine. Yet nicer things will be available for those that can afford it. There will still be the oil and the wine that should not be harmed. Now, we see that like we brought up the China situation earlier. So people are saying that you can still get this shit. Well, like you said, your focus should be on that. Your focus should be on the success of making sure that you're able to get by your day-to-day. As you know, Jake is the China thing. So Jake is going to spend the money on the Jordans, on the designers,
I know that.
You know, all the bullshit, and then worry about how they're going to survive after.
Yeah, the minute when Jake finally realizes it, it's going to be too late.
Yeah,
you know,
spend your money on bullshit.
Yep. That's why we're going to see a crime wave hit a whole nother level in these times to come. Right? You think it's bad out here now, it's about to get way worse than what you see. Right?
This is from the Wall Street Journal. It says, Fed Chair Jerome Powell warns of challenging scenario for Fed as trade war rages. He sees a strong likelihood that consumers face higher prices while unemployment rises because of tariff increases, which is exactly everything that ties into the underlying attributes of stagflation. Right? It says, Fed Chair Jerome Powell warned that the central bank could have less flexibility to quickly cushion the economy from the fallout of President Trump's trade war, sending stocks down on Wednesday. It says this would create a challenging scenario for central bank because anything it does with interest rates to address inflation pressures could worsen unemployment. And vice versa, he said, it's a difficult place for the central bank to be in terms of what to do. In some ways, the Fed's problem resembles that of a soccer goal who must decide whether to dive to the right and focus on inflation or to the left and address weaker growth as an opponent takes a penalty. We'll make what will no doubt be a very different. So you got Lionel Messi on a penalty thing. It ain't nobody there. It's just you and the goal. Lionel Messi, you don't know what's going on. Because that's the Lord that's behind that goal. He the one that's kicking that soccer ball. You don't know.
So you can pick the right direction and it's still going.
It's still gonna hurt. It's still
gonna lose. The Lord hit that fourth float.
Yeah. You still gonna lose.
It's bad, bro. It's real bad.
Beautiful times right now.
Yeah, we love it.
We told y'all through the spirit. Right? Let's go back to Isaiah.
If I may add, so just meditate on that, the oil and the wine. We in that spirit of mirth. You know, we're confident in truth. You know, that wine is giving us joy. The truth is giving us that comfort to where it's like we're happy about this. Everybody else gonna be
we got that good wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everybody else has got watered down.
Sounds good, yeah.
Salsa on top of that.
Right. But yeah, man, we on that King David over here, you know. But you know, you guys are happy, but like you said, we're in the spirit of life because we've been waiting on this, man. We've been, man. Because everybody's scared, man. It's like, yo, we're literally living Isaiah 65 in the beginning stages.
That's it.
You know?
Start at verse 11.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 11. But ye are they that forsake Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table and that furnish the drink offering unto that number.
Yeah, because really, as we talked earlier, these false prophets are not preparing you for these times that are coming, man. All right, dire straits, famines. All right, keep going.
Verse 12. Will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter.
That's right.
Because when I called, ye did not answer.
How is the Lord calling through his men right now? Go ahead.
When I spake, ye did not hear. but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not.
Yeah, all this stuff is going on that's being broken down to you, that's being explained to you, and Jake is still running around being niggas. Right? That's what I said. There's no hope for the majority of our people. Let them have this place, man. Hey, let them be filthy still. They got it all figured out. All right, God knows my heart. You know how Jake is, man. You can't take it nothing. So let them have at it, man. Yep.
Isaiah 65:13. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, behold, my servant shall eat.
Yeah, the Lord is specific. He said, my servant shall eat. Everybody ain't the Lord's servants. Go ahead.
Behold, my servant eat, but ye shall be hungry.
But you should be hungry, man. All right, you damn scoffers, mockers, and demons out there. You gonna be hungry. All right? Your ribs gonna be touching in due time, man. Go ahead.
Behold, my servant, but ye shall be thirsty.
So the Lord's gonna provide these things. This is what he's saying here. All right, keep going.
And then if I can add too, you know, this is gonna be great miracles that's gonna take place.
Yes.
Because at that point in time, when you think about when we were coming out of the wilderness, there was great miracles that were taking place, where it was because we could be fully reliant upon Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, right? The manna from heaven, right? The water that came out the rock, right? This is the miracles that the Lord is going to make provisions for us in these days.
You gotta have that faith, man. At the end of the day. Go ahead.
Isaiah 65:13 and 11. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
A lot of you will be ashamed because you didn't trust the Lord. You didn't believe these things were going to happen before it happened.
Part of you having that faith, understanding, the Lord can do anything. Like the example you just made, the Lord literally made manna come from heaven. Out of nowhere. The Lord literally made water come from a rock. That level of faith, that's why he said, you know, having the faith the size of a mustard seed. That to move mountains, bro. That's high level faith, man. You know?
The idea of splitting into sea. like niggas will have the nerve to say, oh, that didn't happen. And then you got archaeologists, they're excavating the seafloor and they finding chariot residues all over the place.
It's a spot in the country, man, where it's literally, if you from an aerial view, it's literally the ocean split. And you can ride drive cars and walk in the land space between the water. It's literally a spot in the US, not the US, but in the world you go, you see that.
Wow, too much evidence out there. Go ahead,
Isaiah 65 and verse 14. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit.
So basically, the Lord's servants will rejoice at the time where you shouldn't be rejoicing. When you're talking about famine and death and calamity, man, the Lord's going to provide the necessities that the servants is going to need to survive. Right? That's the point, Job.
I wanted everything I wanted.
You know how the Lord's going to say you should laugh at the famine or whatnot, you know? So bottom line, whoever the servants of the Lord are, the servant Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, they will have the substance, the necessities they need to get through those times. Right. Just like in the days of old. That's it. Let's go back to that.
So back in Isaiah 19 and verse 3. Right. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof.
We see that now. Go ahead.
And I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits, witches.
Yeah, a lot of people losing faith and tapping into these left-handed energies, witchcraft and sorcery. Right? People are trying to find a way out. They're trying to find. They're seeking comfort somewhere. And all this is happening because these people don't know the Lord. Right? So now people are being scattered, so to speak. You know? Keep going.
And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord.
Yep.
And a fierce king shall rule over.
And that's the point that I want to get to, going back full circle about this being used to destroy America, Babylon. Man. Can we read the article? So it's really the Lord gave America over to Trump, the elites, all right, to have their basically for the will of the Lord to be done, man. Which is what? To destroy this place. The whole concept of restoring and making this place better and this place being recovered, that was all the farce, you know?
The liberation day is about.
You know?
The Lord liberated you niggas to where you about to just be the hand of the cruel Lord.
That's it.
Ain't gonna be no aid, ain't gonna be nothing that's gonna help you.
Exactly. Hey, the strength of Pharaoh is what? To sit still. And that's what people say.
Half off?
This is from counterpunch.org. It said the United States falling apart and the world is taking notice.
Yep.
The United States is imploding. The reign of Donald Trump is not only challenging and threatening the very foundations of his constitutional democracy, it is calling into question the U.S. post-World War II hegemonic role. Empires and hegemonic powers rise and fall. Often they are defeated by emerging powers.
Yep.
And it's spiritual. Because who's the power that's defeating this hegemony? Right? It's the Israelites, man. Through the Holy Spirit. Right? This word is literally tearing hold of Egypt's hegemony. It says, often they are defeated by emerging powers. Sometimes their decline takes place on, but rarely do they self-destruct as spectacularly as the U.S.
Damn, that's heavy. Read that part, that last part. That's heavy.
Sometimes their decline takes place over time, but rarely do they self-destruct as spectacularly as the U.S. is doing.
Yeah, so we're seeing America self-destruct spectacularly. All right, it's a beautiful sight, and we're literally watching this place fall in real time, real quick. It's Rock 25/7. Right? We're actually seeing it, man. We're witnessing this play out before our eyes, man. Right?
Sirach 25:7. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th will I utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy.
He that liveth to see the fall of his enemy, man. We're in the times right now. Deuteronomy 30:7. Give me that real quick.
Yeah.
You know?
I made mention when I brought the topic out of the lesson. All right? And that brought up, we think about the end result of how it happened, but we're actually living in the stage where this process is taking place as we speak. So we're living that out now, so we're literally watching Esau fall from that position of power, and he's like you said, Satan fall from heaven.
Yep.
You know? So this is a beautiful time we're in if you have the eyes to see.
That's it, man.
So Deuteronomy 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
Yeah, so the Lord is putting these curses. Now these curses are being translated upon our enemies. All right, start with Esau, Edom. Right, his infrastructure, his power, everything, his influence is all being broken down. Right, his lies. Right, they can't sustain it anymore because why? The strongholds. All right, they're being broken by the spirit of Yahweh Shah. Right, you can't sustain your force against the power of the Lord. It's not going to work. So this is why the Lord is allowing us to see things. This is how you know that, again, these are all indicators that this place
play this, like play this channel on the radio.
28:44. It says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. What we're doing is living out the person is coming upon our enemies. The beginning stages of this curse being put upon our enemies taking place now. Because as we're seeing, they're not looking at Esau as being that head nation that's running the world now, right? Everybody's trying to see what's about America.
Isaiah 14.
Exactly.
Thou has now become as weak as we.
Right. And we know the end result of all this, taking place is that Esau is going to be the tail at the end of all this. He's going to be the bottom of the bottom. He's going to be the scum of the earth, man. Where he belongs as being. That's where he's headed, man.
Yeah. Let's put him back in his rightful position.
And from rich to rags, from rags to riches to riches to rags.
Continuing on, the U.S. implosion is dramatic in its intensity and rapidity. In just over 3 weeks, Trump has been able to redefine the United States' position in the world from a global power to an international outcast indeed. Despite whatever military and economic power the U.S. still has, its image and global leadership undermined by President Trump's foreign policy decisions.
Yep.
So I just wanted to reread that point. It said that the U.S. position in the world from a global power to an international outcast. That's what we see that's happening, right? We see in that. Right?
Daddy,
Right? we're seeing that all of these people that were once, you know, kumbaya, so to speak, go along and get along with Babylon the Great America, we're seeing that that spirit has completely been diminished over the course of this one. It's just like it's saying in the article, it's a spectacular, rapid succession of the decline of this kingdom.
Yeah. And you go into that word implosion, it means a sudden collapse. You know, so that's what we're seeing. All these things are happening quickly. Like brothers that may mention the quote, there are decades, nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen.
Yeah. A lot can change in a matter of days.
And a beautiful example of that is January 20th, when Trump got in office. And hey, things have dramatically changed.
I saw this post about the Messiah, really going into the other side. That, you think about that, look at how much change is off of that. It was the secrets of a couple of days.
Exactly. That shit is crazy.
His crucifixion, the typical man, the veil ring, everything, dead rose, around all that. It was a lot of things that happened in his life. Or even whenever he came out, when the Holy Spirit came upon the disciples, it was like, you know.
Look at acts of miracles, the healing, the spiritual power, so on and so forth. You got that.
So Obadiah 1:7, all men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee.
Right, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. All of these nations that were quote unquote allies in the United States, right? They are putting together ploys to come against her, man. Right? Doing backdoor deals. Right? But that's in turn what we're reading in this article about how America is becoming an international outcast. So you don't deal with an outcast. That's a bastard. You don't want no dealing with that. Shame for spewing all that glory.
That's it, man. The Lord is putting this place for show. You know? It talks about it, Habakkuk, the second chapter, about that taunting proverb, man. This place is becoming a mockery worldwide, man. You know?
All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men who are at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So like the brothers may mention, all these nations, you look at what's going on with China, Japan, and Korea, right? All these nations have strong ties to the American economy, but yet they're allying together. So what do you think is happening behind the scenes when they're discussing? You know, this whole thing going with China exposing the manufacturing and things of that nature, right? They're all plotting, right, like it says here in the NLT, while plotting to deceive and destroy you, right? So their whole point is to destroy this place, man. They might work with you on the front, right? But in the back end, they're always looking to destroy this place.
To me, the China thing is an example. You think if all niggas would start going with that, you don't think they don't understand how that would hurt the economy? Cut the middleman out, which means Esau ain't getting his money. What do you think will happen to the country?
They should think themselves to be in a good case. Victory should be sold cheap, man. Right? A perfect setup, man. And the Lord got y'all ass. You got it out. That's it.
But watch China gonna start upping the prices on everything.
There you go.
So Isaiah 47:15 in the NLT. All your friends, those with whom you have done business since childhood, will go their own ways, turning a deaf ear to your cries. Right? So these nations are going to see America start to cry out. Right? They're going to be witness to the downfall of this place, the sufferings that these Babylonians are going to endure. But they're going to turn away from it, man. You see them leaving. They come here, they get their bread, and they bounce, man. Right? Because they know what's about to befall this place, man. They can feel the destruction coming, right? Because they see all the telltale signs that Babylon has spread throughout the earth, man. Right? There's a decay that they brought, right? And they're seeing that it's coming to its fruition.
It's like non-stop.
Going into this article in the
They update those.
Says in 3 weeks, Donald Trump has imploded whatever positive image the U.S. might have had internationally. While he may think he is doing what MAGA followers want, international reaction saved Israel further nails in the coffin of the United States hegemony. No major military defeat is needed. No internal civil war tore the country apart. The President of the United States did it all by himself. Because eventually the civil war is going to take place as a direct correlation of the hegemony falling, right? As well as all-out world war, you know. But it's saying that all those things, the closing has already begun. We are in that beginning stages of these evils that the scriptures speak of, man.
Before this line, this is see. Give me that last one. 4:25.
This is Baruch chapter 4, verse 25. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Enemy have persecuted thee, but surely thou shalt see his destruction and shalt tread upon his neck.
Yeah, so look, the Lord said, shortly you shall see his destruction and tread upon his neck. What are we seeing? We're seeing his destruction. What the brother brought out, the implosion. All right? The people are losing faith and confidence. Right? They don't know what to believe. The confusion, the perplexity upon their minds. See that? That's all part of his destruction. Before the Lord physically destroys this place by using the nations in nuclear war. So again, like the brothers are saying, we are at those beginning stages before it all goes down. Right? So that the word of the Lord ain't faithful and true, man. That's it. So all praise to Yahweh. That's it, man. So hey, we pray that this camp was edified. We'll close it up and give him our praise and glory. Double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone who tells us truth. Double salutations to our Hakim, to labor in the house of David, the elect. He's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you brothers. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.